Hey everyone, and welcome to this Forge College Explainer. Let's be totally honest for a second. If you've spent any time working in Web3 operations, you've definitely been there. Staring at a terminal screen at 3 a.m., just desperately trying to deploy node infrastructure using some broken, outdated documentation that honestly hasn't been updated since the DAO hack. It's a universal nightmare, right? Well, today we're putting an end to that chaos. We're going to take all the theoretical concepts we've been talking about and turn them into something incredibly tangible and completely bulletproof. Look, there's this old joke that there are really only two hard things in computer science: cache invalidation, naming things, and following a runbook from 2018. Today, we're not just writing another dusty document that's going to be obsolete by next Tuesday. No way. We are engineering the ultimate IKEA instruction manual for blockchain node setups, specifically for transitioning from Ethereum EVM to Solana SVM environments. We want this to be so crystal clear and so well parameterized that you literally won't end up with any spare virtual screws left over when your node finally spins up. Okay, let's dive right into this and lay out our master blueprint for today's Capstone synthesis. We'll start at the assembly line, move into blueprinting our comparison, then focus on parameterizing the engine. After that, we'll hit quality control and testing, go through the final peer review, and wrap it all up with our conclusion and next steps. Section 1. Welcome to the assembly line, gathering our raw materials. So, if you've been following along with us in this track, you know this capstone is really all about assembling the raw materials we've manufactured over our previous lessons into a single deployable guide. Just look at the checklists we've got here. We've got our scoping doc from Lesson 1, our architecture diagrams from Lesson 2, that validated RPC configuration script from Lesson 3, and our draft narratives from Lesson 4. The ultimate goal? To synthesize all these independent deliverables into a robust, reproducible package. We want a guide that a site reliability engineer can just blindly follow to flawlessly deploy both Ethereum and Solana RPCs without second-guessing a single step. Moving right along to Section 2, blueprinting the comparison. Side-by-side specs. A really crucial first component of our guide is consolidating all our operational trade-offs into a clear side-by-side comparison matrix. We have to explicitly contrast the physical resource needs for EVM versus SVM environments. As you can see, Solana demands significantly different hardware. We're talking much higher CPU thread counts, massive RAM allocations, and super intense disk I/O compared to your standard Ethereum node. You have to present these concrete numbers. Why? Because this table directly dictates our RPC topology placements. Whether you're setting up edge RPCs, proxied RPCs, or archive nodes, your ops team needs to see the hardware reality of these choices instantly before they provision a single server. Next up, Section 3, parameterizing the engine, or, as I like to think of it, swapping out the standard screws. Now, to make our infrastructure guide actually useful out in the real world, we absolutely must embrace this core mechanism, explicit parameterization. Hard-coded IP addresses and secret keys? Yeah, those are the absolute enemy of good documentation. They're basically booby traps that break staging environments and completely ruin weekends. Parameterization simply means using environment variables or maybe a single master YAML config file instead of hard-coded values. We have to build our deployment scripts to accept user inputs like swappable parts in a high-performance engine. This ensures total reproducibility, whether you're deploying locally on your laptop or firing it up in full production. The absolutely crucial point here is clearly separating your protocol-specific snippets from your general configurations. Look at the Ethereum example. We're passing our port through an environment variable like $ETH port, but contrast that with the Solana validator where it's an entirely different flag and variable like $SOL port. You have to explicitly label these examples in your guide. If an operator accidentally mixes up EVM and SVM startup patterns, the whole thing crashes immediately. By standardizing these variables and wrapping them in a rendering script, your engineering teams can reuse the automation patterns safely. Which brings us to Section 4, quality control and testing. It's time for the wind tunnel test. I always like to ask this rhetorical question: what is actually worse than a broken node in production? Well, it's a broken node with literally no documented rollback plan. Before we hand off our guide, we must put it through these assembly line tests. Step 1 is the dry run. This is absolutely critical. You need a wrapper script that renders your config files without actually starting the services. Step 2, run your lint checks. Shell check for bash, markdown lint for your docs. Step 3 is testing those health endpoints. And Step 4 is actual runbook validation. That means you spin up a throwaway VM, run the steps from top to bottom, verify it works, and then, crucially, verify the rollback procedure works too. Now, what's really interesting here is the difference in how we actually verify these deployments once they're running. For an Ethereum node, we'd probably use a curl command querying the Web3 client version JSON RPC method to make sure it's alive and syncing. But for a Solana validator, we hit the get health endpoint. These subtle protocol differences just have to be perfectly documented. Give them the exact code examples and the exact expected JSON responses. Your runbook has to show exactly what healthy looks like for both networks, so the engineer on call knows exactly what to look for at a glance. All right, on to section 5, the final peer review, checking the blueprints. This is it, the absolute final quality gate before this Capstone project is considered production ready. Remember, a runbook is honestly only as good as the person reading it for the very first time. That's exactly why we mandate this strict checklist. You need 2 independent peers to review the guide. You need them to successfully reproduce at least 1 verification step completely on their own. You must automatically pass your CI syntax tests. And if anything fails during this review, you log the whole shebang in your issue log markdown file. We don't guess, we document, we fix, and we iterate. And finally, Section 6, Conclusion and Next Steps, Preparing for Production. Let's do a quick recap of what we've engineered here today. We successfully synthesized a ton of disparate artifacts into one robust, peer-reviewed engineering document. We finalized that side-by-side hardware comparison table. We built a fully parameterized RPC script with a super safe dry run mode. We drafted a verifiable runbook with built-in health checks, and we made sure everything passes CI linting automatically. The main takeaway for you is that adopting these rigorous, parameter-driven documentation habits makes your infrastructure completely bulletproof. It takes the guesswork out of the equation for whoever deploys your code next. But of course, one massive question remains, doesn't it? Now that our master blueprint is built and we know the physical resources required, how much is this actually going to cost to run? Well, that leads us directly into our next explainer, where we'll dive into gas versus compute units and break down the real financial cost models of running these nodes. Thank you so much for joining me for this Forge College Explainer. I really hope this helps you build better, more resilient Web3 infrastructure. Be sure to head over to forge.college to learn more about this subject and check out our other awesome Web3 topics. Keep building, keep documenting, and I'll see you next time.